Hello, my name is TK Kugler. I am the managing partner of Wasabi Venture Sports. And tonight we have a really wonderful webinar where we're going to meet the staff of uh, of the Lafayette Aviators. And we're going to meet the staff that does the work, the business work of the franchise. So it's really interesting. We had all the on-field managers and the on-field coaches at a previous webinar. You can find the link in the description below. And but this one is all about the business folks. And so I'm going to go ahead and kick it off and do a roundtable. And I'm going to start with David. David, why don't you get to go first? Give us a minute on who you are, what you do for the Aviators, and what your main functionality at for the season is.
Sure. Thank you, TK. And thank you for everybody for joining us tonight. As the general manager, as the person who sort of oversees everything, with the Aviators, it's like putting pieces of a puzzle together is the best way I can describe it. There's a lot of moving parts. There are a lot of things that go into my job in particular, making sure each of the departments has everything that they need. So checking in on a daily basis with each of the department heads who are all here tonight, so you'll all get to hear from them with regard to their particular department. And I'm very excited to hear from them as far as what everything they've got planned for the 2024 season. But for me personally, it's really getting everything set so that when our gates open on May 28th at 6 p.m., every box is checked, every T is crossed, every I is dotted, so that when the fans enter our stadium, they think that all we've had to do as a staff is flip on the lights, open the gates, open the concession stand windows, and we're ready to go. And part of that is just making sure that each department has, like I said earlier, everything that they need to be successful. And that includes the on-field staff as well, the coaching staff, who I know we met a few weeks ago on one of these calls, but also the behind-the-scenes staff. Is everything set with ticket sales? Is everything set with our on-field promotions? How's our marketing coming? What kind of theme nights do we have planned? I don't want to steal anyone's thunder tonight, the other staff, so I'm going to let them get into their own departments. But just for me, it's overseeing everything and making sure that we put on a great show for everybody, and that when the fans leave at the end of the game, they've had a good time at the game. And as long as we're doing good by the community, then I feel like everybody's done their job, and that means I've done my job.
Super. Elena, your turn. Tell people who you are and what you do for the Aviators.
Well, thank you, TK. I am Elena Albrico. I am the Director of Digital Marketing for the Aviators. I've been with them for almost a year now. Next month will be a year officially. And I handle all 7 of our social media accounts, all of our host family program, our players. I'm their main line of communication between them and their host family. And then our merchandise, I design all of our merchandise as well with David, who helps me order it because I'm creative, but I'm not good at numbers. So I handle everything on the creative side, the graphics, all of the fun things that you guys are seeing out in our stadium and on our social media and website.
Super. Miss Sierra, your turn.
Great, thank you. Hello, everyone. My name is Sierra Williams. I am the Promotions and Entertainment Manager here at the Lafayette Aviators. This is my first season here with the Aviators, but I have been working in sports since 2016, mostly internships and game day positions with college and NBA, MLB, and NHL. So at the Aviators, I'm basically in charge of creating all the entertainment and games that you guys see in between innings. So if the second inning is over and then we pull some fans from the audience to come participate in an on-field game, I'm the person who creates that game for fans to come play. Or if you see the various like dance cams going around the stadium and you see yourself up on a Jumbotron, I'm the person who creates those different type of fan cams.
Got it. Cool. Mr. Dustin, I know, I hope you weren't having technical difficulties, but if you're still there, it's your turn. Silence may be telling at this point. I know he had logged on and logged off. So we'll come back to Dustin for a second. I want to follow back up, and I'll go back with some questions here. Elena, so what, besides the social media, does your job change preseason to in season? So how does your job different or evolve in those two different windows?
Definitely, there's a huge difference, even between the fall months of off season, the spring months of the off season. In the off season, in the fall, I'm mainly, getting those host families, getting the players' contracts, sending them their forms to fill out, so I know exactly where to place them with their host family, and then a little bit on social media, but not too much. And then even these months, a ton of stuff's going out on social media. I have a part-time videographer and content creation specialist who's actually on here. He's TJ Preston. So he actually just started with us. So he's helping us create all that. So now it's not just me, it's me and TJ. And then even this summer, I get more interns. So it's not just me anymore. It's a whole team of us, which I think is awesome because I get bored of just me and my ideas. I like bouncing it off of people and getting some other opinions and things like that. So it's nice to see my interns' work get put up on the big screen because I remember what that was like when I went through it last year.
Super. Thanks. Yeah, no, it's been fun to watch the difference and as we get closer to the season. So, so Sierra, you mentioned that you had other previous jobs in sports. How so far, and how long have you been with the Aviators at this point?
So I'm about 2 months in with the Aviator.
That's what I thought.
So I
So
started in February.
So if you talk to me a little bit about what you've seen so far, because you're preseason, so you haven't even had a season with the Aviators. How is getting ready for the season different than maybe some of your past jobs that you've had in sports?
So one of the main differences for me is really being the person in the room creating and coming up with these ideas for the in-game promotions you see. I know previously, for example, when I was with the White Sox or with the Blackhawks, I would just work on game days. So all of that stuff was already created and I never knew the behind the scenes of it. So coming here and being able to be behind the scenes and actually put out my ideas is something different for me and something new. And I've been enjoying that so far.
Mr. Dustin, are you back and officially able to speak this time?
Yes, I'm sorry. I don't know if it's my internet here. I got kicked out a couple times.
Yeah, no worries. So why don't you just do a quick introduction of yourself and what your role is at the Aviators?
Yeah, my name is Dustin Elliott. I am the food and beverage manager here at the Aviators. This is my second full season with the Aviators. I started in 2022, came back at the end of last year. So second full year planning all aspects of the food and beverage operation, from the concessions management to the suite level preparation to concerts, anything that's going on at the stadium. I've been taking over this year the food trucks and whatnot for the Street Fest and any new.
Oh, he might have froze.
Froze again.
He froze again. That's well, hopefully he comes back because I had a great follow-up question. I was ready for a follow-up question anytime. I'm starving, so he started talking about food trucks, so it really did it for me, I have to tell you. So, David, coming back to your question, everybody on here reports to you. Just a think about a org chart just to connect
Sure.
the dots for everyone. Um, so how is, I'm going to ask a similar question that I asked Elena. How is your managing this team and others on this team on the team? How is it different preseason to in season for you?
It's a great question. So I've been in this business for those of you who may not have been on the previous call when I was interviewed. This is my 4th season with the Aviators, but it's my 25th season overall working in pro or collegiate sports. So my management style in season versus off season is very different because nobody is more well aware of the type of hours we have to put in season versus off season. And having an important and making sure that the staff has a good work-life balance is really important to me. And I know that that can be very difficult in season because depending on how the game schedule lays out will really determine the number of hours myself and the entire staff have to work, particularly the full-time staff have to work on a given game week. There could be a game week, excuse me, where we have to work 60, 70, or 80 hours or more on that game week. So it's important to avoid burnout. To me, the biggest word I'll always use in season, and I'll say this at staff meetings, is avoid burnout. If you can take some time, if it's a few hours here or an hour there, take some time off to get away, to recharge your batteries, because it is very much more fast-paced once the season hits, even starting now, where we're just under 6 weeks away from opening day. It feels like when I blink, it's going to be here, and May 28th is going to be here. So we are kind of go, 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 go. And it's getting everything prepared for opening day, making sure that everything is ready for May 28th. And then it's a sprint, really, because it's 10 weeks. We've got essentially 30 home games in 67 days. It's a 10-week sprint. So it's managing almost people's mental health to make sure that during the season, everybody is taking care of themselves so that when they are at the stadium, that I can get the most out of them, versus in the off season where we can plan. There's more planning in the off season, especially in the fall. It's okay. Let's set a list of all the things that need to get done, prioritize them. Okay, this needs to get done by January 1. This needs to get done by March 1. This needs to get done by April 1. And then this way, getting the things done early that have to get done early, so that the things that can get done in the spring, we've set time aside for the things that need to get done in the spring, so that come summertime when we are running around, we're not having to learn things in real time, that any bugs that need to get worked out in the off season.
Yep. Elena, a question for you, and I'll probably ask a couple of people similar to this question. What's the part of the job you're coming up on your year? So you've lived a cycle almost here. What's your favorite part of the job so far?
That's a good question. I think I love a lot about my job. I'm very fortunate and thankful to David for giving me this job and being able to work with the amazing team that I work with. But I always go back to my internship. And my favorite part was just getting to see my work up on the video board, because that was my first internship, sports, creative, anything. So I just loved seeing my work up on the video board. And then now I don't get to see my work as many places because I work with tons of creative people who get to see their work up there. But I think my favorite part now is when we have people come in, and I kind of hear sometimes when they tell David that he has an amazing staff this year, and, kind of little comments like that. And just knowing that we're all doing an amazing job this year and people are noticing that, I think that's my favorite part now.
That's cool. So I'm going to ask you the same questions here. And now you've only had 2 months at the Aviators, but as you prep for this first season with the Aviators, what have you enjoyed the most so far?
So far, what I've enjoyed the most is being able to share my ideas with my coworkers and with David, and they basically seeing their reaction. For example, today, one of my ideas I showed them, they were all excited about. So everyone kind of just being happy that I'm here and welcoming me with open arms, me moving here from Chicago. Um, Everyone's so welcoming and nice, and then giving me good feedback on my ideas that I present to them. So I'm excited for when the season starts to see everything that I've been working on come to life.
That's cool. All right, Mr. Dustin, I think you're back. So we're giving it. Okay, we're going to give it a shot and hope you don't sound like Darth Vader when you answer. The question I wanted to ask you, slightly different, because you've been sort of come and gone but spent a lot of time with the Aviators over that time, and because you're food and I'm hungry, what's the one new food item this year for this season that you've been preparing for that you're most excited for?
I'd say from our end, the most excited I'm for is the Grand Slam nachos. It's going to be a loaded nacho. Nachos are my go-to at a baseball game or any really sporting event. That's my go-to since I was a little kid, just going to watch my older brother play rec baseball to going to a pro stadium. Nachos are my go-to. Aside from that, we're going to have a couple cool items. We're going to have a new Aces Party Punch. That's going to be a fun new adult beverage that fans can come get. It's our blueberry beatbox, which is one of our sponsors, with a layer of pineapple juice at the bottom. So it gives off the blue and yellow color scheme of the Aviators. Kind of another fun, exciting thing just to come out, a fun beverage to get. And then we have some new vendors that are going to be on the concourse this year, serving some stuff that's a little bit harder for us to do out of the concessions. We're going to have a local restaurant, Big League Bar and Grill. They're going to be out doing some of their specialty mac and cheese. They're going to sell it out of baseball helmets. They're going to have tacos. We're going to have a local bakery on the concourse baked by Brittany, bringing out some of her specialty desserts. So it's going to be fun for the fans to experience some new stuff on the concourse they haven't seen before.
Well, I'm excited already. And once again, I'm hungry. So, so if you could slip the nachos through the chat, I'd be ecstatic right now, just so you know. Elaine, I got a question from Mark Binkley, who's on the line. How do you find most of the host families, and are most of the host families the same year over year, and how much turnover is there of that?
So most of our host families have been the same from what I'm aware of since 2016. So they've been here since before any of us four have even started with the Aviators. So most of them I inherit year after year, but there are a couple new ones this year. So I'm excited to get their take on it and see how they feel about it. Most of it's done through social media. I put out social media graphics. We had our videographer, TJ. He did a host family video for us that we put out on social media. And that's just how we really hit our target audience of the host families. David also puts out press releases. Sometimes he'll be on the radio and we'll mention that we're looking for host families. And while we're on the topic of it, we do have 5 beds left for players that need beds. So if you would be interested or know of anyone who's interested, please email me so that those boys aren't homeless for the summer, because otherwise I might be living with 4 boys or David, and that's just not going to be good for any of us.
No, that doesn't. It would be a whole new reality TV show, I suppose, if we had to do that. So,
Exactly.
I think your wife would be ecstatic, David. Just so you know.
Oh, absolutely. We do. And honestly, though, joking aside, we do host players.
Right.
I don't just run the team. I do host 2 players, but I think any more than two players in our house, my wife might actually divorce me. So
Yes. Yes.
yeah, so that could be interesting if I'm forced to host more players this summer.
Absolutely. Sierra, another question from Mark. It's a good one too. Do the in-game activities change from game 1 to game 30? And how do you think about that scheduling if it does change?
So we have about between, I want to say 30 and 35 different games that we're going to play this season between innings, and it just varies. So there will be some that you'll see more than once, but you won't see any of the same games in a single homestand. So we're going to try it, or the way that I'm going to do it is um, kind of space everything out so you don't see the same thing over and over back to back. But if there's a promotion that I see was popular, say early on in the season, then I'm going to do it a couple more times, middle of the season, at the end of the season. So it really just also depends on how the fans react to these promotions.
Yep. Makes sense. Makes sense. Yeah, and I'll do a follow-up question because as you were answering it, it came to me. Do you do, do you get in the middle of the season and say, boy, that contest or that game or that activity worked really awesome. I want to make sure we do that again, even though I didn't have it slotted twice. Do you make those adjustments on the fly?
Yeah, yeah, I will. Like if I see the reaction of the fans, and it's something that they really enjoy, and I wasn't expecting such a huge, like, reaction, then I may switch some things around on another game day rundown and add that in again since it was received so well.
Yeah. And I would guess you might have the opposite too. If you had a really clunker, you might
Yeah.
not try that again, huh?
Yeah.
So
Or do it on a night that it's a little slower.
yeah, understood. Yeah, yeah, run those tests when David didn't get the stands filled. That's the way I do it. Okay, come up with something when it's raining. I know. Dustin, a question from Mark Binkley. He obviously is a big fan of sunflower seeds. And he says it goes to numerous minor league games, including the Aviators, and can't find sunflower seeds at the game. Why are there no sunflower seeds at the games?
If I had the full, capacity to do that, I would. It's a stadium rule. The Loeb Stadium themselves has no seeds, no gum, and no peanut just rule. I think that's for just cleanliness and just a stadium rule. That's not an Aviators thing or anything like that.
Got it. Got it. That's a good answer because I'm guessing most stadiums have that rule because they're not looking to clean up after the sunflower seeds that Mark has now spit them all over the place, by the way. So just not I'm not judging Mark. I'm just, just commentary, of course. So coming up for a last round of questions for the group. It's been great. I'm actually going to start backwards and go forward. So I'm going to go back to you, Dustin, right with a backup question right away. What's the single most exciting thing you're looking forward to for the Aviators 2024 season? What's the one big thing that you're most excited about?
I think it's just the biggest thing I'm looking forward to is another fun season at the ballpark. I'm a big sports fan. You guys hear me? Are we good?
Yeah,
Yeah, we're
we're good.
I'm a big sports fan, so I've always ran or worked in food and beverage. Since I was a high school senior, I've always worked in food and beverage. I just, my audio might not be great. I can tell David's making some faces. I don't know what's going on with the internet today. I'm sorry. But just being able to make a fan's day each game, it could be something as small as a candy bar, a hot dog, and that's what I look forward to.
Awesome. Well, I think between the tons of pixelation we got there, it wasn't pretty, but we got there. We got there. I'm going to ask you the exact same question. What's the one biggest thing from your area that you're looking forward to in 2024?
I can't pick one. I have to. Okay, I pick two.
You can pick two. I'll
Okay.
take two. I'll take two. Let's
Um,
Monty Hall. We're making a deal.
So one of the things I'm most excited about is, again, seeing the fans' reactions to, all the in-game promotions, because they are like my ideas, and with a little help from my previous positions where I borrowed some stuff. So I'm hoping that a lot of this stuff is new to the fans here in Lafayette, and it's something they've never seen before. So I'm hoping to get, good reactions. And that's one of the main things I'm most excited about, seeing the fans' reactions to, the entertainment and promotions in game. And then another thing I'm most excited about is, like Dustin said, I'm a huge sports fan as well. So just being at a baseball game a million times all summer, from start to finish, and hopefully making a little playoff run.
That would be a playoff run would be a big win. The extra game and the extra revenue as an owner would be ecstatic. I just no pressure or anything. So thanks, Ms. Sierra. Elena, your turn. You get to answer what's the one big thing from your area that you're most excited about for this season?
So I kind of have two, like Sierra. My job's a little split. I'm marketing and community, so I have to pick one from both. On the marketing side, I'm honestly super excited for our social media this year. We have a great social media team that's coming in for the summer. We have a YouTube channel. We have a new LinkedIn channel. Our TikTok's going to be better. We have a podcast that's rolling out this year. So I think you guys are going to be seeing a lot more fun things on social media this year, and a lot more from the players, and getting to see what it's like to be a player in their life. But then from the community side, our specialty theme nights this year, every Saturday is themed. Even if it's not a specialty jersey, we have Street Fest, Purdue Night, Breast Cancer Awareness Night, First Responders Night, Hispanic Heritage Night again. And even with those theme nights, every single game in general is themed. So you don't have to come out to a Saturday just to have fun. Every single night from Tuesday to Monday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, every night's themed. So I'm super excited from both sides of it, because I think that the fans are going to have the best experience they've ever had in an Aviators game, online and in person.
Super. That was awesome. I got to tell you, your enthusiasm came straight through the Zoom call. So just so
Well,
you know.
I'm glad. We've been
Yeah.
working really hard on all of the theme nights this year. So I'm super
That's awesome.
excited for all the fans to see them.
And Mr. David, you get the last word tonight. Yeah. What's the, and you've been in the role for 4 years, so you've seen a lot of things, and this is I would dare say, just my first commentary sort of as an owner here. This is going to be a different year. It's already been a different year in many ways than maybe some of the last years. And we've sold more tickets. We've got more sponsors. It's obvious that the momentum's there. So TK preamble over. What's the overarching biggest thing that you're excited about for the season once it kicks off here?
I think each of the staff members just touched on it, and I can sum it up in 2 words, which is fan experience. The fan experience is going to be so much better this year, and they have the other 3 members of my staff that are on this call to thank for that. We have more giveaways. We're doing more giveaways than we've ever done before. We have more theme nights than we've ever had before. We have better in-game promotions than we've ever had before. We have more and better food options than we've ever had before. And the fans can go directly to Elena, Dustin, and Sierra and thank them for all of the new experiences that we have this year. If anybody has any complaints about any of the new experiences that we have this year, or new food items or theme nights or whatever, they can blame me. So blame me if it goes wrong, but if they love everything and all the new things that we've got, which I'm so excited about, go directly to Elena, Dustin, and Sierra, who have put this together and will have wound up making this season so special for the fans.
Super. That's a wonderful way to end. I do think, and you can see it tonight too. I hope everybody picked up on a lot of that interesting and new energy that probably that's coming to the table in 2024. So kudos to all of you. I'm excited to spend time at the stadium. I'm excited to see games, and I'm excited to see all the changes you guys got in place. So thanks everybody for coming tonight. I hope you enjoyed meeting the staff, and it's probably not something that you get to do with most summer collegiate baseball teams. I don't think most teams are doing this, so it's nice to be able to give that behind the scenes look. And I hope everybody enjoys your evening, and I'll see you at the ballpark.
Thank you, TK.
Thanks,
Thank
everyone.
you.